Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to cover this story about a bill designed to stop teachers filming Onlyfans content in their classroom. Now, number one, it's pretty ridiculous that it's needed in the first place, but we have had teachers fired for doing just that. We had a couple in Lake Havasu City who were fired for filming Onlyfans content in their classroom and posting it online, and students got a hold of these images. Students got a hold of these images and passed the content around to their friends. And this is a school teacher who was caught doing this. So quite rightly, this bill sought to outlaw this and make this illegal, to not have this being done in our classrooms. As you can imagine, it's a very stressful situation for parents to send your kids to school and your kids end up getting a hold of this inappropriate material of their very own teacher. And this bill sought to prevent that. But unfortunately, Governor Katie Hobbs has blocked this bill. So let's take a look. Bill trying to stop Arizona teacher from using classrooms for OnlyFans content rejected by governor. After two teachers in Lake Havasu City allegedly lost their jobs for making explicit content on school grounds, Arizona lawmakers attempted to outlaw such conduct. Governor Katie Hobbs has rejected a bill that Republicans claim would have prevented another educator from shooting pornography in a public classroom. Senate Bill 1696 was filed this year after a Lake Havasu City couple lost their jobs for allegedly making sexually explicit content on school grounds, but a subscription platform, Onlyfans. Let's take a look.
Scandal is unfolding at a middle school in Lake Havasu City. A teacher caught in compromising positions in her classroom.
She was posting explicit content online and her students found it. Sarah Robinson spoke with parents and also tried to speak with that teacher involved in this. Sarah, what's the latest?
Well, this all erupted when this teacher started promoting her explicit content and videos on her TikTok and Instagram accounts, which I'm told her students follow. Once students found these images, they were airdropped around the school. Now parents are furious with the teacher and the school district.
She has no care knowing that these students have seen her everything and on students' desks.
A teacher at Thunderbolt Middle School reportedly caught in a scandal, one that's horrifying both parents and students.
And that was one of my friend's daughter's desks, and she is just mortified over the situation. She's just like, that is my desk.
The teacher has an online account where students found her pornographic content, which appears to be filmed in her 8th grade classroom.
She was sharing these links to her sex site on her social media accounts, which are public, which children follow her.
Christina Miner, a mom at the school, says she found the teacher's explicit content.
And it says, "Who wants to be my next teacher's pet?"
Wearing her school t-shirt. She uses her school photo that was taken for the yearbook on OnlyFans.
There have been no charges filed at the Lake Havasu Police Department, but even if it's not exactly criminal, parents are disgusted.
Our kids shouldn't have been exposed to this.
I'm absolutely outraged.
I'm a taxpayer and I'm not paying these teachers to film pornography. They're being paid to teach our kids and set higher standards for them.
The parents also upset with how Lake Havasu Unified School District handled the incident. They received a message saying, "It has come to our attention that students have been airdropping explicit material. The images did not happen during the school day, and the person depicted no longer works for LHUSD. Please remove all images from your child's phone and talk with them about the appropriate use of technology."
Any child who's normal, when they see a picture like that of their teacher, would share that picture. That's a normal response to the information you receive as a child.
I also reached out to the teacher.
I'm calling to speak with Miss.
She did not want to comment.
Now, the moms I spoke with said they also received an email that her husband, who works at an elementary school in that same district, was also fired. He did appear in some of the material filmed at their home. We also reached out to the school district. They did not want to comment at this time.
So clearly, there was a reason for this bill. It was thought that it was necessary to introduce this bill. As you can see there, parents are very concerned that their kids were able to get a hold of this content in school. So this bill would have at least given some sort of peace of mind to parents. Now, these teachers were fired. They no longer work for these schools, but ultimately it needs to be made clear that this will not be tolerated, and this bill was sought to do that. The bill would have prohibited state entities from exposing minors to sexually explicit materials or using state facilities to film or facilitate sexually explicit acts. In her veto letter, Hobbs said she agrees not all content is appropriate for minors, but felt SB 1696 was a poor way of addressing those concerns. Hobbs said the bill was written in such a vague manner that it serves as little more than a thinly veiled effort to ban books. So there we have it. She's vetoed this bill because she believes it will be applicable to also banning books with similar content. And apparently doing so is, anti-trans, doing so is anti-LGBTQ. Banning books with explicit content like that, for some reason, the left has decided that it's a direct attack on LGBTQ and a direct attack, on history as well, because they're claiming that books pertaining to African American history has also been banned. That's addressing books that teach critical race theory, where the idea of white guilt is promoted to our children, the idea of being oppressed and your skin color preventing you from being successful, being promoted to our children. Bills that are common sense bills to protect children are now being seen as a direct attack on certain groups. And the people who are suffering the most are our children. This bill was to prevent another situation occurring where teachers think it's appropriate to film content of that nature in their classrooms. The bill passed through the Arizona legislature with little support from Democrats. And again, that should be a huge red flag. So are Democrats in support of children being exposed to pornography? Straight up ask them that question, because this is what this bill is designed to prevent. But of course, they're politicizing it and leaving our children open to these things, leaving our children unprotected and open to people who are there to groom, indoctrinate, and expose them to things that they should not be exposed to. State Senator Jake Hoffman said he found the governor's veto sickening and advocated for implementing legal repercussions for misusing Arizona's classrooms. These should be safe spaces for our kids to learn in, not venues for the sexually explicit adult entertainment industry, Hoffman said in a statement. The Arizona Education Association celebrated the governor's veto, claiming it would have potentially stopped teachers from recommending classic books like 1984 and The Great Gatsby to students, since both of those novels contain scenes involving sex. But Republicans seem to insist the bill's aim was to stop educators from misusing public facilities for adult activities. So she's arguing that it's so broad that it could be used for what Republicans want to do, which is to ban books with pornographic content. They're claiming it's to ban The Great Gatsby and 1984. But let's look at an example of the types of books that are concerning to parents.
We are finally seeing examples of why some math textbooks were rejected by the state.
One math problem shows a graph, you see it right behind us, and that measures racial prejudice by age. Fox 35's Matt Trezza has a closer look at the books.
Here's one of the math textbook sections the Department of Education says crossed the line. What? Me? Racist? This excerpt of an unnamed textbook launches into a math lesson.
I would think that that's basically almost trying to create a debate.
Or how about this question? Asking students questions based on a graph that shows the levels of racial bias among different age groups.
I feel like for math, we should be focused more so on the numbers.
People in Cranes Roost Park say it's very different than how previous generations learned math.
It was the old school. It was just, 1 + 1, and you went down your columns and you carried over. I mean, it was very simplified.
These are some of the books spotlighted in the video. The images in the books are so graphic that local TV outlets reportedly had to cut away from the press conference. And here at Fox News, we've even had to blur some of those images. It's also the reason that we will not show you that video right now. Governor DeSantis railed against the graphic material in schools and slammed the hoax that taking these books out of the classroom is a form of book banning.
We've heard different things put out. There was a Duval County school video where they took a video of empty bookshelves and they say the state of Florida doesn't want books, you know, they're trying to censor books and all this stuff. Turned out that was a hoax. They tried to say that you're not allowed to teach certain basic things that we require. Some of those folks have been put on discipline and will likely lose their jobs. So a lot of that, what's been going on, is an attempt to create a political narrative. And it's a false political narrative.
All of these images are in public libraries public school libraries or on a teacher's desk, some in elementary schools. Listen to this. Some of the words in the elementary school book, which was found in my home county of Hillsborough County, Florida, according to the governor's office, instructions about how to have non-painful sex, discussions about lubricant, self-pleasure, using the explicit M word there, venereal diseases, bisexuality. Here's a direct quote found in a elementary school in Florida. I decided to start living polyamorously just over 3 years ago. I've had a number of monogamous relationships before that point, but throughout all of them, I was constantly struggling with the fact that I wanted to be with other people. Since then, I have dated maybe 25 people. Another book called It's Perfectly Normal shows depictions of various types of couples in bed having sexual intercourse.
And I want the parents to know you have a voice and you have a choice. Get more involved in the school boards, get more involved in the curriculum. Don't be afraid to speak up and don't wait to be invited.
And while we couldn't bring you the images from that elementary school book, you can find them on the governor's website if you'd like. We do have some images from high schools, books found in high schools. And I want to warn viewers before we put these up, this is very hard to look at. It's sexually explicit material. If you have kids, take them away from the television. Emily, this is from a book called Gender Queer. This is a depiction of individuals engaging in fellatio. This was found in high schools across Florida. There's another page from this book of images of adults having various interactions. You can see that there in the bottom half of your screen. These books also found in Texas and Virginia. It's a book called Gender Queer. And secondly, a book called Flamer. I want to pop up that image too. It is a woman, it appears in a shower with a boy on his knees. This is the material that kids need to learn in high schools.
You're right that it's absolutely nauseating, Kaylee, and it's a primer, it's an instruction manual of how to exist in the liberal, left, woke society, which has absolutely eroded all fundamental family values and senses of personal dignity, as well as protecting children's innocence. Digging further, it also includes how to sext appropriately, right? Cover up birthmarks, cover your face. It includes an instruction manual on how to download apps to make it easier to have, quote, casual intercourse. It depicts young boys performing sex acts on each other at Boy Scout camp. The government should not co-parent with the biological and parental figures in a child's life. And that is exactly what is happening under this administration.
So we see some examples of the type of books that are cause for concern. Books that introduce children to the concept of changing one's gender. Books that glamorize doing such. And the reality is, it's not a glamorous process whatsoever. And we saw that there were even maths books that were banned. Democrats will say, Republicans are banning math books. They don't want children to learn maths. No, these books and these questions, these exercises, had some ideologies within them that were inappropriate, that parents don't want their kids being introduced to because they need to just focus on maths. That's it. But of course, they're going to look at it as, they're banning maths. So those are the examples. And I guess Katie Hobbs doesn't want Arizona to go down the same route as Florida. And she's afraid this bill, is the first step towards that. But Republicans seem to insist the bill's aim was to stop educators from misusing public facilities for adult activities. A husband and wife were let go from the Lake Havasu Unified School District last year after officials discovered they had allegedly used the campus to make explicit content after hours. In a statement, one of the teachers said she regretted making the video on campus, but said she was forced to start making online content due to her low teaching salary. She added that she loved teaching, and claimed none of her students were aware of the online content until after she had resigned. But yet these images were passed around the school. The Mohave County couple is apparently not the only instance of teachers getting caught for using classrooms to create inappropriate internet content. According to the Arizona Board of Education, a former kindergarten teacher in Marana resigned in 2021 after she allegedly posted pornographic photos of herself online that were taken on school grounds. I don't understand why steps to protect our children are seen in such a bad light, are seen as an attack on certain groups. Everybody, regardless of your political views, should agree that children should not be exposed to pornography. But the reality is people want children to be exposed to these things. They want children to be exposed to certain ideologies. They want children to be exposed to certain concepts because it validates the people who practice these things. It validates people's identities. It validates, people's desires to be accepted. But in truth, children shouldn't be dragged into this. Children should be educated on what matters and what's going to help them when they leave school. That should be the focus, not pushing your agendas on them. So let me know what you think. Governor Katie Hobbs has decided to reject this bill because she feels it will be used for the whole concept of banning certain books. Do you think that was the right decision? Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.